Should religious institutions be taxed? Why or why not? My church used to be a part of a financial council organization that included many churches. Essentially all it did was keep tabs of our finances and made it available to the public. The organization actually kicked our church out since they felt like we were showing everyone up. What this means is something like 80% of our money was going to outreach, education and charity, while 10% went facilities. The last 10% went towards paying our rather large amount of staff members. Now you can just ask our administrator and he'll give you a handout of where our money goes, but I thought it was funny they kicked us out because we focused our money on the public and guests too. The church is opposed to giving our pastoral team big paychecks or having a super nice building. They should have the same rules as everything else. If they can prove they're charitable and not for profit, they should be exempt from tax. If they can't prove that, or they refuse to, they should be taxed. Religious institutions should follow the same rules as anyone else. Prove your non-profit status. Get out of taxes. That's simple. They can keep their tax-free status, but they can't be unaccountable black boxes. Their finances need to be public like secular non-profits. And they need to prove some minimum percentage of their budget goes to actually philanthropic activities. I'd think something around 20%. If they don't or won't meet those requirements, they pay taxes just like every other for-profit endeavor. Once they get political, they should be taxed. Yes. A huge number of them are run as money-making businesses, and should be taxed as such. If they're for profit, yes. It's subjective. Large mega masjids, churches, and synagogues, for example, which seem to funnel millions of dollars. Yes. It's clear there's something shady going on and questionable. Especially when their leadership is living in million-dollar homes and driving Ferraris. The average and local churches, masjids, and synagogues? Absolutely not. You would effectively shut them down. Most are barely getting by and rely heavily on the donations of their worshippers. Yes, they can deduct for charity donations or charity work, but all other finances should be taxed. Playing devil's advocate. People willingly give money to churches. But they also give willingly to other things such as the Red Cross or SPCA. Shouldn't those be taxed too? None of us should be taxed. Donations should not be taxed. Making money off of buying, selling land and property, selling merch, raising money from events, etc., like you see in the mega churches, should absolutely be taxed. The mega churches should be. Why? They buy land and don't pay property taxes. They build buildings and don't pay taxes. Small churches that are barely making it shouldn't be taxed. But I really doubt anyone that can afford that much land and those mega buildings could really be considered a charitable organization. Tax those rich mega things that really aren't churches. I think that any money they send directly to other charitable institutions should be exempt from taxes, but all other income should be taxed the same as small businesses. So if they give $100K to Doctors Without Borders, that would be a tax deduction, but money they give to another religious organization would be taxable. Yes. After all, we tax entertainment. And churches profit handsomely from one of the most famous works of fiction ever put to paper. If they're engaging in political discourse, yes. Depends what power they have. And what they use their money for. Here in Europe, churches have huge power bills. Heating a huge building in winter is not cheap. And the amount of money required to renovate clean and/or make the building better can be extremely high. Maybe it's different in the US. But I'm rather opposed to taxing religious institutions. Yes. Especially when they're instrumental in making laws. Yes. Currently is a black hole of charity that goes to the billionaires' wallets. As long as they stay out of politics and act as a church. As soon as they tell their members how to vote or endorse any political figure, they must be taxed. Jesus. Arse credit. Let's not wank ourselves too hard here. The answer will be an overwhelming yes. And if the answer is no, the caveat will be that they are public about their finances and have rules imposed to prevent the greedy cunts from preying on their congregation and getting millions tax-free. The above will cover most answers. As long as evangelicals are flying around in private jets and living in mansions, then yes. Yes, and deduct any actually charity work. I fail to see why they should be given exemption. The moment they make a political proclamation. Oh. You are so excommunicated. No. And a whole bunch of you are thinking about churches in the wrong way. Most churches are effectively cost-sharing arrangements. The church needs to pay for the building, pastor, supplies, staff, payroll taxes, which they pay, etc. The cost of all that is shared by the parishioners, who contribute money. If you build a surplus, you either increase your expenses, i.e. hire more staff, stash it away, or make charitable donations. We don't tax other cost-sharing arrangements. If you and your roommates all kick in for the rent, we don't make you report the pooled money as income to be taxed. Are there mega churches where the pastors make millions? Yes. A few. And those getting paid pay income tax on that. The church also pays payroll taxes for the increased salaries.